I'm Betty Jane and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'd like to speak to you about learning the tarot in a little more depth. I have several books. I'm always offered, asking, being told, being asked what authors I like. And I have a few favorites. My very, very, very favorite is Rachel Pollack. I've read almost everything she's ever written. I find them very informative. I find them easy to read. And I just think that she does a wonderful job of explaining the details and the nuances of tarot. Mary K. Greer has a lot of really good books out there, well priced, easy to read, workbooks, different methods. Just, again, a wealth of information. She's got books on just the court cards. She's got books on tarot reversals. A lot of good information in Mary's books. If you're looking towards symbolism and history, Robert Place. His book on history, symbolism, and divination of the tarot is just amazing. There's a lot of good information in there, and I still refer back to this book on a daily basis. One of my newest favorite books is Tiffany's. Tiffany Crascara. I had the privilege of meeting her a couple of years ago at a conference, and she writes a very informative, easy to read book with exercises to do, and she tells her a personal journey and story in this book, and I really adore it. However, one of the things I always tell people when learning tarot is to pick yourself up a great book on symbolism. This is the Penguin book, Dictionary of Symbolism, and if you go in, you can pull just about any image out of a tarot card and read up on it. The golden bough, mistletoe, it'll tell you what a pentacle means, what a sword means, and it's a really great book. What's interesting about a symbolism dictionary is I first heard about them when I was in high school, and we read Lord of the Flies, and one of the girls in my class had gotten hold of one of these books and looked at the symbolism behind the story. And most of us have had to read that book at some point in our life. And the one thing that stands out is that the word conch means war horn. And if you think about the book and the symbolism of the conch and how they blew on the conch to get the shout, to get the noise, to call people to order, and it actually did become a war horn in that book. So I always found that really inspiring to know that I could look up the roots of the words for any book I ever read and find different meanings for words. The one thing I will say about today's smartphones is you can take a picture of anything and text it to anybody. And I came across this book in London in a hotel room, and it's the Book of Symbols, Reflections on Archetypical Images. And what I really found interesting about it, I wanted to steal it out of the room, and I didn't. I was given it for my birthday by one of my kids. Is you could take a look, and there's different sections and different images, and it had a really nice way of explaining the meanings behind the cards. There's also a book, and I don't currently own it, although I have taken a picture of it, and it is on my wish list, that helps you discover the roots, the history of the root of the word. And there's probably more than one. And so you look up your word and you decide, it's defined as to what it meant years ago and what the structure of the word is and how it relates now. Swords, for instance, comes to mind, and swords were to cause chaos. Well, if you think about the suit of swords, a lot of the cards do carry very chaotic images or unhappy images. So that does make sense. When we're learning tarot, always carry a deck of tarot cards with you. And a notebook. It's great to look at the images on a bus, in a doctor's office, waiting for the dentist, waiting for if you're in a cafe, and making your notes as to what you think a card means, or maybe questions that you have that you want to look up later. I personally, to this day, carry a tarot journal. I pull a card every day, and I write down the book meaning of the card, and then I write down my own thoughts on the card, and then I write down at the end of the day how that card was reflected in my daily journey. So if, for instance, I drew the Three of Swords, that's a very painful card. It's full of heartbreak. It's very simple. It's a card with a heart and three swords in it. So breaking that down and saying, what happened that day to cause a little bit of heartbreak? Maybe, it could be anything. It could be something as silly as forgetting to pay a bill and having your phone turned off. It could be having to cut down a favorite tree because it's diseased. It could be maybe something happened to really break your heart that day. Maybe you lost a loved one. Maybe you found out about an illness that a friend of yours had, or maybe even yourself. So it's always interesting to write down how a card reflects your day. The other thing I like to do is, if you look at a deck of tarot cards, the colors mean something. So as much as the images are there, if you had a black heart, it means something different than a red heart, as a difference to the white heart. So looking at the image and maybe drawing it out and coloring it in and using that to evoke emotion, and what emotions those colors evoke in yourself. It's always a good thing to do. And it doesn't have to be a very personal journey, although it can be. I recently took part in an exercise where we deconstructed a tarot card, and we pulled 2 or 3 tarot cards, and we made our own one. So if you pulled Nine of Cups and the Three of Swords and the King, you King of Swords maybe, you might draw a picture of the crown and the throne and a man, and then swords and cups, and then what we do is we put it together into a new picture, all 3 of them, and what we came out with. I can't remember the cards I drew, but I do remember that the Three of Swords was in my cards, and I made like a coat of arms all contained within that heart. And it gave the cards that I pulled a very different meaning as to what the cards actually meant. Those were just a couple of examples of how and to read tarot cards and how to learn them. I can't stress enough, always carrying a deck. Going down to Amazon and downloading an ebook, because you can read that on your smartphone, on your Kindle, anywhere. And I have to say, there's a couple of really good writers out there, and I'm going to reiterate. Rachel Pollack, amazing. Mary Kay Greer, wonderful. And Tiffany Croscara, very good person, and her book is amazing, especially I love the fact that she's incorporated the notes and the work pages in there. And myself, I have a tarot book out there on Kindle. So Betty Jane Ware. Going to encourage you to please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. And visit Sammy Spells for more details on any of our upcoming events and classes and workshops. Thank you.